1978, I applied to Strat Mountain School, and I was accepted, and my life forever changed. I fell in love with skiing. I still have the same great friends from the school.
After graduating from college, Susie's friend Mark Heingartner, who had introduced her to riding a snurfer, called,
saying, you gotta come up to Stratton, you gotta try this. And that's literally how my snowboarding career started. I think made 3 or 4 turns, and of course fell over, and laid there, looked up at the blue sky and said, I love this. I remember going up and getting certified for lower mountains. And then I remember saying to Mark, what can I do with this?
Mark and his friends, snowboarding instructors in the independent Burton Snowboarding School at Stratton, were looking forward 6 weeks to the upcoming U.S. Open Snowboarding Championships.
And I'm like, well, how do I get in? And I said, you got to win a wild card because you've never been in any other event. So I was kind of training myself, and then it became this like fierce thing. And I won a wild card spot, and I was in the U.S. Open. And I remember coming through the first run, I think it was Kurt Meyer said to me, oh my God, you're only like a few seconds away from the fastest man. The second run, lo and behold, I won.
The win cemented not only her place on the Burton team, but also in their snowboarding school as director. In the summer of 1988, coming back from competing in her first year on the World Cup snowboarding tour in Europe, Susie helped write a snowboarding manual for PSIA, standardizing the teaching of the emerging sport. And Paul Johnson, the general manager for Stratton, asked her to integrate the Burton Snowboarding School into Stratton's Austrian-centric ski school.
All the people in the ski school did not want to be any part of snowboarding. But it was very successful right off the bat. Everybody wanted to learn how to snowboard. Parents wanted to learn how to snowboard. Kids wanted to learn how to snowboard. And there was a young man that came up, Mike Tedesco, and he said, hey, Suze, I want to race.
Susie took the idea of a racing program to her Stratton Ski School director and was told she'd need at least 15 racers. By the next day, she and Mike had them and began the Allegro snowboard race program. But there were no snowboarding races, which led to Susie forming a company to stage them, kicking off a grassroots snowboarding racing phenomenon.
At the very first race at Stratton, I think we had 95 or 97 kids show up. So we called Pico, Bromley, Magic. I think those were the mountains originally. The second year, holy cow, I had mountains calling from all over. So we had north and south. It was called the Green Mountain Series. I was working full time in New York, left on Friday nights, picked up some of my friends along the way who helped me run the series, and that's what we did on the weekends. It just grew and grew and grew. It got so big that we were doing 2,500 newsletters. The registration for our series was on the back because now we had mountains locked in. So I created the Tri-State Series, the Mid-Atlantic Series, the Colorado State Series. So at one point I think we were running 250 events on a weekend between all the states. We always had what we called the VSSA National Championships or the Green Mountain Series Championships. If you won the Green Mountain Series Championships, there was a good chance you could come home with the US Open title, which many people did. So I created a Parents Association, which was so helpful to make sure kids had their bibs on. They were at the scoreboard, they were at the start, they were gatekeepers. This had a life of its own, and it got bigger and bigger.
In 1998, snowboarding was included in the Nagano Olympic Games, and racers from Susie's grassroots racing program filled the ranks of the American team. Stratton Mountain Academy's alum Ross Powers led the way.
They were getting to the Olympics through the system that I created, and so exciting. And Ross Powers, someone that came out of my Allegro group that I helped coach, got a bronze.
By 2002, at the Salt Lake Winter Olympic Games, there were 6 snowboarding events. And again, the grassroots racing under Susie's VSA umbrella fed the American success.
When Ross, won the gold medal, oh my gosh, really? And there were so many other athletes that were at the Olympics that came out of the Green Mountain Series. So it was like the proudest moment of my life. And I think I added, just a little bit to a whole sport that's going to keep evolving over time. And that's the best legacy you could ever leave.